Do you want a buff? Do you want a buff? Everybody gets buffed. Woohoo! Yes, there is lots of buffs coming to Remnant 2. Don't know when, but soon. Maybe this week, maybe next week. Who bloody knows? But buffs are coming, ladies and gentlemen. Something to get excited about. Hell yeah. Hello everyone, hope you're having a wonderful day, and today I wanted to do a quick little update video on the explosive archer build I did do a couple of weeks back, because a few things have changed and I think I have made this build even stronger than it was before, even without the need of a legendary fragment. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, no need to get all stressed out and worked up if you can't be fucked farming for your legendary fragment. I completely understand, because this build just doesn't need that legendary fragment to make it work, but let's be real here, having that legendary fragment is going to give you the maximum amount of damage output you can get with this particular setup. And yes, we are using a legendary fragment. That was the whole purpose of that prep talk there. We are using one, but trust me, the build definitely doesn't need it. So we are still utilizing Archon and Summoner to get the most out of our explosive and mod damage. Nothing has changed there. Now our partners in crime to help us blast through Apocalypse difficulty as quickly as possible is going to be none other than our boy, the Sagittarius. We're still using that mod, still spamming it more than ever, because it is arguably up there with one of the strongest explosive damage mods that we have in the game. And to pair up nicely with the Sagittarius bow, I've decided to slot in everybody's favorite explosive handgun, none other than Starshot, and the Big Bang mod, which does big fucking damage to everything in its way. It is absolutely disgusting. So now the reaction chain amulet has been fixed. I didn't even realize it was bugged, but it has been fixed now. We have some very, very solid mod generation, if not some of the best mod generation in the game. This amulet is absolutely busted, meaning you're able to fire off your mods constantly and consistently with absolutely no downtime, so you're not standing there like a fucking idiot for 10 hours waiting for your mods to recharge again. Now look, I'll level with you guys a little bit here. The survivability with this setup is a little bit left to be desired. I'll be honest, it's not the best, but we do have some of the best damage overall in the game. So sometimes good offense is better than good defense. So yeah, you might die from time to time. Whoop-de-doo, but seriously, the joy that this build brings in just absolutely deleting bosses in under 30 seconds, sometimes one-shotting aberrations, which for me personally outweighs the fact that we might be as durable as a wet paper bag. But even though this build is a little bit of a glass cannon, it still doesn't change the fact it is arguably one of my favorite builds to run through any content inside Remnant. Alright, so enough of the intro, let's actually jump into what we will be running with this particular setup. I am going to start with the Prism and the fragments like I've been doing in all my other videos, just so I can talk about the legendary fragment, because I do believe that requires a little bit more explaining and why I'm taking it and how good is it. But I've finally got this little son of a bitch Power Fantasy. It's taken me like 40, 50 goddamn hours. I've lost count. It took a while to keep re-rolling and re-rolling until I finally got Power Fantasy. Hallelujah. And I was not disappointed. I was not disappointed at all. Power Fantasy absolutely slaps, because it is a very strong legendary fragment for all of those explosive damage builds you might want to put together. I do rate this over Wrecking Ball. Wrecking Ball, it's great that you get 100% crit chance with all explosive damage. Power Fantasy gives you 30% crit chance, but you also get the 30% crit damage, which the crit damage part is much better in my personal opinion than just having 100% crit. And 30% crit chance with Power Fantasy, it isn't really that hard to further increase your crit chance to nearly have 100%, if not 100%. It's not that hard to get the crit chance. What is hard is stacking on crit damage. So that's why I feel like Power Fantasy just pulls ahead a little bit from Wrecking Ball, but they're both very solid choices for just about any explosion build you want to put together. So yeah, guys, a very, very strong legendary fragment. And if you guys get a chance to try this out, you're going to absolutely love it, and I do think it is a little bit better than Wrecking Ball. For the other fragments, I got my Prism, I've got mod crit chance, health bonus, I've got Sapper, which is explosive damage, damage reduction, Mage, mod damage, mod power generation, and Pirate, which doesn't need to be here, but yeah, I have Pirate here. Ideally, you'd want meta instead of pirate, so you've got the crit damage. And then for the regular fragments, we've got explosive damage, and mod crit chance. Moving on over to the archetypes, nothing has changed here. Like I said in the intro, we're still running Archon, we're still running Summoner, still using Chaos Gate, still using the Flyers. If you want a bit more survivability, throw in Reality Rune. Chaos Gate, why it is increasing our damage by a significant amount, this build just has a lot of damage anyway, so I don't think you're going to lose out on a lot of damage not taking Chaos Gate. But if you want to see the maximum amount of DPS you can put out with this setup, Chaos Gate is the way to go. Now moving on over to the armor, and this is purely cosmetic. I've got 2 points in the strong back just so I can wear what I'm wearing, and that is basically, I just kind of wanted to have a little bit of razzle dazzle, but feel free to put whatever you want on. So I've got the welding goggles, Fey Royal body plate, the Fey Royal greaves, and the Fey Royal van braces. And then for the relic, feel free to use whatever the bloody hell you want. Nothing is set in stone. I'm always switching and changing to suit different scenarios. I do like the Profane Heart, I do like the Constrained Heart, and the Quilted Heart. Those are my like 3 main go-tos, but everything's going to work here. I just, feel free to use whatever the hell you bloody want. For the weapons, still got the Sagittarius, and the main reason we're using the Sagittarius bow is for the Starfall mod. This mod is no joke. It's very, very strong. So the way this works, you're going to shoot at a location or at an enemy, and it's going to open up a big portal above their head, and it's going to literally rain fucking star fragments down on top of them. And these star fragments definitely don't tickle. They do a significant amount of damage. I have kitted this out with the feedback mutator. You kind of need the feedback mutator here if you want to have consistent and constant mod spam, and you can have multiple Starfall mods out at once. It's not just limited to one. If you can get 2 to 3 out before the duration finishes, you can have 2 to 3 out, and that's why feedback is needed, because you're just going to recharge your mod back instantly, and then you can just keep firing the mod out and having multiple there, dropping a lot of those star fragments down. It's going to nuke enemies very quickly. We do have the Hunter Spear. You don't need the Hunter Spear. You could use the Krell Axe. In fact, the Krell Axe is just a little bit faster. I just like the Hunter Spear because I like applying 2 corrosive dots, because corrosion as a status effect is one of the strongest status effects in the game. When it is applied to an enemy, you are going to get a 10% increase to all of your damage. So that is why you want to try to apply a corrosive as much as possible. It literally gives you more damage. So like I said, you could use the Krell Axe, but make sure you do use Tainted Blade, so you are applying that corrosive dot to give yourself more damage. And the new boy on the block, the big star of the show, no pun intended, is the Starshot handgun, and the main reason we're using this is for the Big Bang mod. We're not even shooting a bullet out of the Starshot itself. We're just firing that big motherfucking mod that literally nukes and destroys everything in its path. It's such a strong mod, always has been, probably always will be, but it definitely gets even stronger now that legendary fragments have been added into the game, and some of those legendary fragments really do make the Starshot shine even more. I have kitted this out with the failsafe mutator. I'm not sure if you 100% need this mutator here, or if you could put harmonizer in. I think failsafe works really well, because if my math is correct, you're going to have a 75% chance to not consume a charge off those 5 charges. So there's a very good chance that you're always going to have 1 charge left after you use the Big Bang mod, and there's a good chance that you probably are going to have 2. I have seen 3, have seen 4, haven't got a full 5 charges back yet off failsafe, but you do get your charges back with failsafe. So when you switch to the Sagittarius to spam the mod, and it works with, and then reaction chain kicks in, when you switch back to your Starshot, you should have 4, if not 5 charges ready to just unload again, and that's how we're just constantly mod spamming, and it works really, really well. So now moving on over to the juicy stuff, the amulet and the rings. I'm not going to dwell on this too much. I've spoken about a lot of these items in my previous video. So we do have reaction chain, which has been fixed now. It was bugged. It wasn't working how it was intended to be working. Now it is. Holy shit, is this thing busted. This is such a strong amulet for mod spamming builds, or just mod builds in general. Highly recommend you guys try out this amulet if you have not yet already. We have Burden of the Gambler, just so we can have crit chance and crit damage. Burden of the Follower, you kind of need this if you want to have more mod spam. This is going to give 30% extra mod power generation. We got Probability Cord, more crit, and then we have Braided Thorns, which is going to give us 10% crit chance. I think all up together, if my math was correct, we have 80% or 70% crit chance with our mod, which is pretty good considering that I think we're getting 90 plus 95% crit damage. So I think we should just have like a 2 times multiplier nearly with crit damage, which is when we crit, damage is just going to double, which is absolutely absurd, and it is one of the reasons why this build, you know, does so much damage so quickly. And just to show you guys, like, this build actually working, look how quick we can actually do 100,000 damage. I think it's probably like 10 seconds, maybe 15, so 10 seconds, maybe it's probably like 15, 20 seconds it takes for us to do 100,000 damage. So we're already at 70,000 and boom, 100,000. So it literally took 4 shots from each mod and we've got over 100,000 damage. So you can, I think you can get about 450,000 damage in a minute. No boss is going to last that long, but yeah, you can get about 450,000 to 500,000 damage in a minute, which is kind of crazy for a mod spamming build. That is absolutely absurd damage. So yeah, basically no boss is going to survive the full minute with this build, but it is crazy that you're able to get this much damage out of just a mod spam build, especially with the legendary fragments now being added in. So just quickly going on to traits now, I got 5 points into affliction, maxing out fortify, maxing out kinship. You're going to need this so you can at least use the big bang mod in close proximity without completely nuking yourself. You are still going to nuke yourself from time to time if you got low health, but kinship is going to help mitigate that a lot. Got 2 points in the strong back. I've got 8 additional points into vigor. I've got 7 additional points into endurance. I've got 7 additional points into spirit, 5 points into amplitude. You could take the 2 points out of strong back, put them in amplitude if you really wanted to. I didn't want too much AoE, so I wasn't constantly taking damage from Big Bang mod, but like I said, kinship is going to protect you from that self damage. So if you want to go more AoE, feel free to go more AoE, but just be a little bit careful. I've maxed out Bark Skin for that damage reduction, maxed out Chakra to have the Sagittarius Starfall mod out for as long as possible so I can do as much damage as possible, and then also maxed out Siphoner so we can have a bit more survivability. And then also for Concoction, I would recommend the bottled Shadeberry. You don't need it, but it definitely helps as mod spamming a little bit more consistently, especially with getting the 4-5 charges back with Big Bang. You definitely don't need it, but it does help the setup be just a little bit more consistent with that 10% extra mod power generation. So that is basically it for the updated video on the Explosive Archer build. I hope this video did help you guys out. Like I said in the video, this build has to be up there with arguably one of my favorite builds right now in the game currently. It just absolutely blitzes through all Apocalypse content with ease. But either way, appreciate all of the support as always, guys, and until next time, stay safe, peace out.